was washing the dishes, and when I was doing that and I was wrenching them, I kind of got soaked.
When I was growing up and Pap was trying to give me advice that, you know, I just wasn't having, I just wasn't listening to him, and maybe I was fussing with him, quarreling with him about it, he'd tell me, Tipper, don't be so touchous and independent. You ought to always listen to somebody that's been down that road before.
Miss Tipper's cooking is larping good. I especially like it when she makes her homemade macaroni and cheese.
When I was a kid, my mom used to always yell at me to not get my nice clothes burnt. When I was little and I would play outside all day long, I'd come into the house and my mom would say, "You're rusty-footed. You go get in there and go straight to the bathtub and clean yourself up."
I hit my elbow on the door and it's sore as a raisin.
When I was little and we'd go to church, we'd start being rowdy and getting noisy, and I'd get in trouble because I was cutting a shine.
I told Miss Tipper if she would reach me that hoe, I'd scratch her out a bean row.
Whenever I used to go to the Waffle House with my grandpa, he would say that he took his coffee regular. When me and Corey and our cousin would be down at Pap and Granny's and we'd be getting too rowdy and too loud, Pap would come up to us and say we better hush because he's going to put a quietus on us.
I need to get in here and red up this greenhouse. I do the same thing every year. We grow all our seedlings in here, but once we've moved them out to the garden, I totally forget about the greenhouse and leave a big mess.
I don't mean to be braggedy, but I'm a good weed eater.
Early in the spring, when we were out working in the garden one day, I said, Matt, I have the best idea. Let's put a big garden bed right here on the side of the greenhouse in that space that we don't ever use. We hadn't got it built yet, but I'm hoping we get that done soon.
I like to make light of the fact that Miss Tipper uses ideal for idea. But I still like the way she talks because it's kind of cool.
I hope you enjoyed those short clips showcasing some of Appalachia's most interesting phrases and words. I love doing these videos. If you can't tell, I'm crazy. I'm plumb crazy, plumb foolish, as we would say, about Appalachian language. I love thinking about the colorful, rich sayings and words. I love thinking about how they've been passed down throughout the generations. I'm just crazy about the Appalachian language. And I hope these videos seem to be pretty popular, and I'm glad because I want more people to know about those words. I want them to continue. One frequent comment that I get is people say, hey, you know, that's not just said in Appalachia, that's said in, you know, wherever they're at. And I totally agree. I never want people to think that I'm saying all these words that we use are only relegated, or even the foods that I talk about, anything that I talk about that's only relegated, it's not allowed outside the limits of Appalachia. That's not true. It can be found in other places. I believe that it's held on, a lot of the words, and the words being more common, and the foods and the traditions and the folklore and all that kind of things, because traditionally people in Appalachia kind of stayed in Appalachia for generations. I've shared before, 9 generations of my family have lived in the same general area. Of course, that's not true for everybody. Some of those generational people left. They went up north, they went overseas, they went to California, wherever they went, and they didn't come back. A lot of them took those words and phrases with them. But when you think about the migration of people, a lot of words are not unique to Appalachia. It's not that we created them, or the phrases, or the intonation of how we speak, or even our grammar, a lot of times wrong, that we use. A lot of those usages, that language, come with immigrants from Scotland and Ireland, the British Isles, from different places. And as you think about the migration of people as they come from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, it only makes sense that the language went with people. And I think in places where people traditionally stayed, like in Appalachia, then those words hung on. Like if it was generations of the same family, then those places is where you'll hear some of these exact same words that we share. Cradis D. Williams, he's one of my favorites when it comes to Appalachian speech, kind of the logistics of it, the linguist coming at it from that point of view. He was not a linguist, but he had a great love for it, and you can readily find his books and different things. This is one of my favorites, Southern Mountain Speech. But what I'm going to read, the quote that kind of explains better than what I'm saying, kind of explains it better, wasn't really written by him, but it was about his work. But it was, let's see, I think it was Jim Wayne Miller. Yeah, Jim Wayne Miller. So he wrote the introduction to the book, but it's just this one little short part. It says, Williams understood that many features of Appalachian folk speech are not limited to the geographical area known as the Southern Appalachians, or all of Appalachia, I would say. He was too sophisticated and knowledgeable about settlement patterns, migratory routes, and the relative geographic and social isolation of various groups who settled the region to be unaware of the continuities between the folk speech of the upland and lowland South. He felt it necessary to make the point repeatedly. So this is a quote from Williams. Prototypical Appalachian speech overlaps extensively with the folk speech of other American rural groups of colonial British stock. So in other words, as people migrated, just like I said, they took that language with them. So I just wanted to share that, since I'd had a few comments about that no, I don't think that Appalachians are the only people that use some of these unique phrases and words. I understand that they're said throughout the United States, and boy, I'm glad that they are, because I just love them. So drop back by often as we celebrate Appalachia, and to watch more videos about language in Appalachia.
They win. I done forgot what was the word.
Whenever
Well, give me a minute here. Are you ready? What am I going to say? Seems like people like these videos a lot, and I'm glad, because I want our language to continue. Okay.
What?